Welcome to the Real Estate Leading Edge podcast, where every week we interview a top producing agent who will share with you exactly how to grow your business and live the life of your dreams.
Hey. Welcome to the Real Estate Leading Edge podcast. I'm your guest host today, Tony Raffin, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Tony. We're very honored and privileged to have you on our show today.
I'm excited.
Good.
Terrific. And Tony, who's sitting to your left?
That's my wife, Andrea.
Andrea. All right.
She's our leading agent in the office right now.
Awesome.
Wow.
Welcome to the show,
Wow.
Andrea. And then we have our guest hosts, Sherry Saad, Mr. Robert Cabani, and yours truly, Shadi Bazzi. And we're very excited because Tony is our first guest, okay, from outside of like the last 6-7 episodes that we've done. They were all RE/MAX leading edge agents. And today, we have someone that, we feel is going to bring a lot of value to the show. And he's our first guest from outside of our company. So, Tony, we're excited to have you here.
I came over here legally.
Legally.
Yes.
I like that.
Thanks, it's good to be here.
Only way to go. So why don't we begin? We'll have you introduce yourself first, then we'll have Andrea introduce herself as well too. Oh, you know what? Ladies first. Andrea, you introduce yourself. Tell the world who you are, how long you've been in the business, etc., and then you can pass on the torch to Mr. Tony.
Fantastic. Well, ladies first, I'm Andrea Raffin. I have been an agent for 8 years selling real estate, 8 long years with my husband selling real estate. It's been quite an exciting journey. Got into the business learning how to manage properties. So that was my introduction to the real estate business. Managed 100 properties for outside of the country investors, learned a lot, and then decided to try my special skills in selling instead of managing. So I really enjoy doing that right now.
Great.
Love. Pass on the torch.
Well, needless to say, she was managing 100 properties, and we nearly got divorced before we even got married. That's how bad that was.
That's true.
Because that was a terrible introduction to real estate. But I'll be honest with you, she handled it like a champ. To manage 100 properties, let alone for everybody out of the country, dealing with all these people, time zones away. And I wouldn't say I was the best teacher on it. I said, here, you're going to run this. And she just started running it. And she really did a good job. Very profitable. We sold the company, a year later. Either that or my head was going to get cut off.
Yeah.
So that was pretty bad.
Right, so Tony, when did you get into real estate?
I was, believe it or not, I was in the cigarette business.
Oh yeah?
Wow.
I had a chain of cigarette stores, cigars. Got to meet a lot of people, and that was 1994. So it was 1994, and I did that for several years. Turned it into we did almost $50 million a year
Wow.
in tobacco sales. Yeah, and it's like, this is just getting crazy. I didn't like it. It was just, they were changing the laws, and we had to compete with all these other people. So I met a guy one day, and he goes, "You'd be good at real estate." And I'm like, "Really?" And it's like, okay, go get your license. So I got my license, and I started doing that part-time. And then we sold the cigarette business, and then I did this full-time, and I just jumped over it. And started slow. I still remember some of my first sales. It was just weird. It's almost like slow motion. You start those first deals, you remember every piece of paper, and it's like, oh my God, can I do this? I don't know the forms, and you go crazy. And then when you realize it now, it's like, forms don't mean anything. but that's what people think of in the beginning. They're so scared of the technical aspect of it. We do it blindfolded
Yes,
now.
absolutely.
So you don't think of it, but everybody's so scared and apprehensive. So just, if you're new in the business, don't be scared and apprehensive about it. So that happened, let's see, that was 1994. So I was at Red Carpet Time. My broker was a real sharp guy, but he ADHD like me. So every time you look around, there's the cat, squirrel. And that was pretty bad because I'm ADHD. So 2 people, somebody had to take control. So basically I took control. And in 2000, he bought a RE/MAX franchise. So I went over to RE/MAX, worked underneath him, basically managed the company, and that was in 2000. And then in 2006, I got my broker's license, and I bought the company out, bought him out, And then it started, and then that was it. And I was managing broker, I was sales, I was doing foreclosures. That was a real big, crazy thing for me. Got you into the foreclosure
Yes.
game.
Yes,
Um,
absolutely.
traveled the country, going back to conferences, back and forth. Been in the top 10 Remax for the last 15 years.
I'm
Actually,
gonna stop
top 5.
Tony here for a minute. So you think I had a little surprise for you guys on the last podcast? Wait to tell you something about Tony. You guys are gonna be excited.
Whoa!
I don't even know what she's talking about. Honest to God, I really don't.
Sounds like trouble.
Yeah, probably was. But you know what? It worked good. Then we went through a real big high, and then we went through a real big low, and then we came back out of it again. And I said, in 2013, I said, screw it. I don't want to own the brokerage no more. So I merged with another company. So now we have 6 offices, Remax First. And I kept the building, which was great because this is the building I bought. So I kept the building. I'm a great landlord, but I'm not a great broker. And so it works out really, really well for us. So we have a nice team. There's 6 of us now. There's 6 of us now. We were as high as 28 on the team. But when foreclosures close down and you churn and burn, you get rid of the people that aren't as productive. You want people that are productive. It doesn't make sense to do all this work with people that don't want to work. And that was pretty much it. So in 13, sold the company, and here we are today.
Yeah. So Tony Raffin team has actually been #1 as a team consecutive years in the state of Michigan. So congratulations, Tony.
Yeah.
That's a big accomplishment. So you got #1 agent in the U.S. and in Michigan, and you got the #1
Yeah,
team.
you were #1 agent. We were #1 team.
Yes, that was actually a phenomenal year. Yeah, so congratulations.
Hard
to
workers
them.
here
Yes.
in this room.
Yeah.
So, and Tony's done, over 100 transactions also too, so he's gonna touch base on all of that.
7,000 transactions.
7,000
transactions.
transactions.
Over $1 billion in real estate over the course of the last 18, 20 years. Yeah, just with
Amazing.
Remax, $1 billion. Did more before that, not a lot, but you start, once you get in with a good group of professional people, I think, how do they say, competition breeds success. So if the guy in the next room is a rock star, you want to try to compete with him. He's got the target on his back, then you get it, then you got the target on your back, and it just goes back and forth. Competition is just phenomenal. It really
great.
makes everybody shine better, yeah. So we did a bunch of crazy stuff. Last year we started a podcast. So one of my investors has flipped over 100 homes, and him and I threw the idea at him, why don't we throw a podcast? And it's called Fix It and Flip It. It's available on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud. And we talk about flipping houses. We brought in some guests from the outside. We've had guests from around the country. We do like a Skype.
Yeah.
We Skype in and we bring guests in from out of the country or out of the state and that have done different things in different areas. And we've talked to quite a few people, learned a lot. We bring contractors in, inspectors in, lawyers in, accountants in, everybody, every facet, because at the end of the day, it really goes back to what we're doing, hustling.
Right. Can you talk about hustle? I want you to talk about hustle, then I want Andrea to talk about hustle because, you're a hustler, right?
I am a hustler.
Okay. And
She's also a hustler's wife.
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget that.
Well, there you go. So,
She has to compete with the hustler within her household.
Exactly.
There's no competition. I'm the
No
winner.
competition. So, Andrea, you go first. What does the word hustle mean to you?
To me, hustle, it's waking up in the morning, having your day ready to go, whether it's with children. We talk about hustle in real estate, but me, it's, we have children at home too. So it's keeping their schedules in line, keeping mine in line, keeping him in line, most importantly.
Oh, wow.
How do you do that?
She's your boss,
It's a full-time job keeping Anthony in line, but I think I'm capable of doing it. But it's a lot involved. And then touching base with all of your clients, keeping all of the details in order and, having time for yourself too, to get out and really enjoy what you've worked so hard for. A lot of the time people talk about work, but you have to make sure that you're getting a little bit of play in there too, a little bit of rest and relaxation, which I definitely push for that more than he does.
Wow, what kind of play?
All kinds of play.
We went to the Bahamas last May. That was awesome.
Oh, that just play. Oh, that kind of play.
We swim with the pigs.
Oh,
We
You swam with the
Yeah.
pigs?
swam the pigs. We swam with she was with the sharks. And it's like, here she is, and there's all these sharks swimming around her. So she's swimming with the sharks. Then we fed the iguanas. And Bahamas is nice. It's a nice getaway. You know, it's
That's
really,
Tony's
really.
place.
And then
That's
you
Tony's
learn real estate over there when you go.
Alright,
You know,
I
it's
got
a
it.
whole other ball game.
You're trying to overtalk Andrea because I heard something as she was saying that's
Yeah.
Tony's play,
Yeah.
Anthony's play. What's your play, Andrea?
Yeah, what's your play?
I'd like to do all different kinds of things.
Oh my God.
Shopping.
We want to make sure that we don't need
That's
a
boring.
BJ
You might want to edit this a little bit.
No editing in
But
this show.
no, hustle means a lot of different things, I'm sure. But to me, it's definitely for first, thing in the morning when I wake up, I'm hustling. I'm getting up, doing my coffee, getting my day going, getting the kids out to school, getting myself together, him, checking on emails first thing in the morning before I even walk out of the house just to make sure things are kind of going the right direction, making sure I don't have to put out any fires immediately, and then getting into the office, greeting my staff, catching up with them, because at our office it is a family. We kind of want to check in on everybody and not blow them off, make everybody feel important, see how things are going, how's everybody doing, and just, hitting the ground running and working, until you're done. There's really no end to my day. I go until I'm finished, so.
Great.
Different, it's
That's
different
a hustle.
each day.
So we definitely got a hustler right here. Tell us about your hustle.
I think it's a little different. Andrea's, you look at her desk and it's like, perfect. You don't want to look at my desk. My desk looks like a war zone. And I'm constantly juggling. I got an idea here. How are we going to implement it? I got an idea here. How are we going to implement it? I got a script. We're doing this. My job is chief juggler. And then at the same time, you got a guy calls you and says, I got a deal here. What do you think? How can we do this? And then all of a sudden I'm working on an $18 million deal. I just told her on the way here, I got a guy's looking for this, it's an $18 million deal. All right, how can we do this? And where did I meet the guy? Las Vegas at Remax R4. So there's always reasons you go out of town. You only got to pick one thing up wherever you go, and you learn one thing or meet one person, and then the next thing you know,
Change your life.
Well, think about it. Yeah, deal, $18 million deal. It may not change your life, but it'll really enhance quite a few things. So, and we find when we travel to Remax conventions or whatever convention it may be, that's our whole goal. Just pick up one thing, bring it back, be able to use it. And that's what I think brings hustle to the table, where, how do you put the words?
Some people take hustle as a bad word, and some people take it as a good word.
That's why I wanted to get both perspectives, a female's perspective and a male's perspective, and them both being husband and wife. I'm just curious to find out if they're ever hustling each other. And who's winning the hustle?
No. You know what's funny is, like, last week we didn't plan on working, last Saturday.
Okay.
We woke up in the morning and she's like, I got to go show a house. I said, well, while you're doing that, I'll go to my mom's house, and then I got a showing. And she goes, well, this is right by your mom's house. So, all right, let's go here, let's go there. We ended up working the whole day. We sold 3 houses that day. I mean, and it was a day we weren't even supposed to work. And it was like, all right, let's make it work. And I'm like, where are you going? She's like, I got to go write another deal. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, let's go, And
it's, getting it while the getting's good is what I like to say.
my dad used to always say, make hay while the
Right time.
sun shines. So if you make hay while the sun shines, you'll be fine, because eventually it's going to get dark. And we know it because we're in real estate. It's the roller coaster game.
Yeah.
And I think you, being one of the top coaches in the country, realize the whole idea is smoothing that ripple out. But at the end of the day, everything is cyclical. So people laughed at me when I got into our bank foreclosure business. They're like, you need to go in retail. What are you, crazy? You're too good for this garbage. This is no good. Then retail dropped off, but I was already in REO at the beginning. When my first year, all I did was 3 deals. Literally, my second year was like 7. Then all of a sudden you go to 900.
In 1 year.
Not in one. We didn't go from 12 to 900, but I did over 900 deals in 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, we go like this, we go like this, we go like this, we go like this. So it's like, you think we fall down, we really don't fall down, because your name is out there so much and people know who you are. There's a lot of trust in that. And she'll even throw my name out when we like she might have a deal going. Well, they know it's on the Raffin team. No offense, she's smart. I mean, she knows her stuff. But sometimes she's got to say, honey, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
Just drop my name.
So, he's so well known in the business. He's known, so many agents. So 9 times out of 10, something comes across my desk, a deal. He knows the guy.
Yeah.
Or the.
Could be a little bit of
So,
influence.
Tony,
Right.
over these years, business has obviously been cyclical. And like you said, it is for all of us.
Yes, for all
and
of
you've
us.
been in the business 20 years.
28.
28 years.
Yeah.
So what have you learned from the business being cyclical, and how's that impacted you, and what experience have you gained from that?
Don't borrow a lot of money.
So basically, watch how you use your money.
You know what? We took those years, and I could speak for a lot of agents, took those years for granted. They were fantastic years, and they made a lot of money, and a lot of people went broke fast.
Mm-hmm.
We're still here. We're
Yeah.
still
You
standing.
made it.
Yes. But Sherry can tell you,
Yeah.
there's, and I mean, we can name them on more than our hands and our toes. These people lost everything, and they were making millions a year.
Robert did work in the the
Doing
bank-owned
foreclosure
business too, also
Mhm.
too.
So you
he
know.
can- but Robert has transitioned his life into a traditional agent
Traditional
where
sales.
where me and you are still diversified. Where
We
weren't.
still do traditional
REOs.
sales. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
But like I commend you for all the compliments you have done, but for me, I think like my bank-owned business and Tony's bank-owned business is our little,
It was a part of
Yeah.
partially a niche.
yeah,
for you.
niche, and it's
Yeah.
still there, but we still do traditional too. But it's always going to be there for us.
Yeah, because all those transactions obviously give you a nice, strong
Right.
customer
Yes.
base.
Right. But there was a lot of groundwork laid.
Mhm.
We were, literally, you're on vacation and you're flying from one place. I got a conference. I remember one time, this was right after me and you had met. I'm down in Dallas for a meeting, and literally I got to fly home because we thought my mother had a heart attack. And then, it's like, oh, well, I need to get back. She's okay. Everything's good. And you're just making those connections, because at the end of the day, our retail business starts like this. It's all about the relationship. We do the same thing with the bank foreclosures. We have relationships with the banks. They trust us. They know that we're doing the best for them.
Mhm.
We look out for them, our skills and our
Mhm.
and our passion. We love real estate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and we're also
They're
gonna
experts.
and get them the highest possible dollars too at a short period of time, because keeping that property on the market just
Costs some
more
money.
money.
Right,
You
exactly.
want to turn it over as quick.
I
So
think.
Tony, you've done over $1 billion in real estate.
Yeah.
Okay. You've been in the business for 28 years.
Yeah.
You're in a place that a lot of people would be like, one day I want to be like Tony kind of thing. And there's a lot of people in our audience who are maybe newer in the business or up and comers, etc. So the question would be what's your best advice to anyone and everyone out there that just says, I want to go to the next level, whatever that next level is for them?
Pay attention. These words were given to me by a dear friend of mine who was a top RE/MAX agent in our area. He was a Dale Carnegie coach. His name was Klaus Prost, God rest his soul. And he's the one who got me into real estate. I went into it because of him. And he was just such an amazing mentor, and not a guy that tells you what to do, but the best piece of advice he said: don't ever worry about the money. Do it because you love doing it, and you'll never work a day in your life. And I lived by that. My wife's like, we don't ever worry. I treat the guy with $1 million home the same way I treat a
Give
guy.
me 5, Tony.
It doesn't matter. $50,000 home, $1 million home, it doesn't matter. They all get treated the same. And it's funny, really, the people who sell, you deal with the lower prices that don't know what's going on. They appreciate your input and your knowledge. They love you for it.
Yep.
I remember, God, in my first days, I had a group of people, a husband, a wife, and 3 kids, and they had no home. It was Christmas, and we literally got their deal accepted Christmas Eve. And they grabbed we held hands in a circle, and they prayed, and they were, thank you, Jesus, for getting our home. It was our gift, and it was like, we're crying.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what we do, man. We change people's lives. This is the biggest purchase in somebody's life.
Again, it goes back to passion. It goes back to making the American dream happen.
Right.
And if you go back to our first podcast, his words were actually exactly mimicked like mine.
Exactly.
Really?
Yes.
So
absolutely.
you've been taking her words and claiming them to be yours.
I think it's the opposite way.
Either way, it's good.
I don't think so. I'm on Sherry's
Like,
side.
you know, but
girls are gay.
Woman power.
Yeah.
Tony's actually been my mentor for a while too. So we actually feed off of each other a lot. I
We
look
do.
up to Tony, and that's I think why we speak alike also, and why we have the same passion and driven in real estate. Again, we could sell a dollar home to $1 million. We treat the client the same.
But I think one of the funny parts about it is that other agents will say, why are you trying to teach them?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you trying to help them? They're your competition. Once again, it goes back to what I said
Yeah.
before, competition breeds success.
Mhm.
But one of my teachers, one of my early teachers, Marge Frazier, God rest her soul. God, I got a lot of people dying around me. Marge, yeah, you guys get out of here. So, Marge was absolutely amazing. And Marge Frazier always said it. The epitome of a good broker is the people that they train behind them. And they tell the story of where you are. And I've brought a lot of people into business. I've trained a lot of people. I've trained people from California to Florida to Texas, all over the place. And they're still making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
Mhm.
So that's probably going to be my next
So you
forte.
pay it
All
forward.
Yeah.
Paying it forward is huge, man.
Yeah.
I think last year we probably gave away about $50,000 in commissions, and not that we wanted to, but something happens and you don't worry about the deal. You worry about the relationship.
Yep.
Because if you worry about the deal, then you're just the same. You're the same thing as a guy at a counter ringing up a cash
Right.
register. It's not even about that.
Yeah.
And that person remembers. And before what's really weird? Think about this. How about helping somebody never getting paid? And even though you didn't do their deal, but you gave them all the information they needed, and all of a sudden you're getting referrals from somebody that you've never sold a house to, and you did that. She did that, got 3 people from one family, and all she did was try to help.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So don't ever do it for the money. And I don't know who our audience is going to be, whether they're going to be agents or whether they're going to be clients, but at the end of the day, sincerity, plain and simple. Do it for the right reasons. We don't work.
Beautiful advice.
We really don't work.
Beautiful advice. What about you, Andrea? What's your advice to someone that just wants to go take it to the next level?
Wow, next level. It can mean so many different things.
Right,
But I mean,
so,
as far as, be with either a good team, have a good mentor, as Tony said, have good people around you that really want to see you succeed and teach you. Even though Tony's been in the business for 28 years, and I've only been in it, a small amount of time, we're always trying to reinvent ourselves, whatever that is. We're not, I want to say we're experts, but I still believe in learning each day, taking something and, passing it on to the next person. We have a lot of younger agents coming up in our brokerage, and it's nice if they can knock on our door and say, hey, I've got a question about this, or what about that? It's just surround yourself with, good agents, a good brokerage, and I think you'll do well. I think everyone's willing to help everybody. I don't think they're going to just leave you behind.
Beautiful. So mentorship is very critically important.
Definitely very important.
And then also, I've heard so many great golden nuggets from these two, but basically it sounds like you're saying that having a growth mindset and be constantly trying to learn.
Definitely.
You mentioned
Absolutely.
learning at the R4 conference.
Mhm.
You're talking about now constantly trying to increase your
Yes.
knowledge.
Definitely.
We take webinars all the time,
all the time.
learn a different strategy. If you're not on top of your game, when you're on top of the hill, like Sherry is, there's always a target on your back. Somebody's always coming after you, which gives her incentive to even do better. She's done this how many times now? 3? 3 times. Number 1 RE/MAX agent in the country. Dude, honest to God. That's a huge accomplishment.
Right?
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Even though we're in the Detroit area, so we
Yeah.
really don't make any money doing it. It's like you go out to the West Coast or the East Coast and you sell the number of units that she sells, you're a multi-millionaire.
Yes.
But that just doesn't happen with us. So
Yeah.
we count on the volume. So I think our systemization of our teams, in our office, we've got a processor, we've got a pre-marketing coordinator, we've got somebody that's in the field that takes care of lockboxes and signs and pictures and measuring and stuff like that. So we don't do we can't do everything. And then we surround ourselves with good people
Yes.
that
absolutely.
really do. I mean, how do you say that? You're the people that you surround yourself is who makes you up. So when somebody says, "Hey, I need something done," it's like, "Yeah, we can handle that. Yeah, I got a great legal attorney for that." Or, "Yeah, I got a guy that can paint your house." Or and then
You have all the resources that
Yes.
you can able pass
Right.
on to your clients.
and then you look like Google. I that's even a better
I love
one.
that.
Be Google for your clients.
Yeah.
Be Google
Very
for your
nice.
clients.
I love
That's the
that.
way to
Yeah, I
go.
love
Yeah,
We heard that
Nice
recently.
quote, by the way. I like that.
I heard it somewhere. I won't take. I won't take the. I won't.
Maybe Sherry.
That's
Take
not-
it
Yeah,
off.
you probably took it from your last.
Oh yeah, here we go.
No, when I heard that, I was like, that's really.
Yeah.
I always said that I was like the glue. That I may not know how to do that or how to do that or how to do this. And I mean, do you write your own purchase agreements anymore? Not all.
I mean, I have an assistant where I've trained her and went over the process with her, but I just review them now.
That's the same way
I
with
review.
me. So because I know what to do,
Systems.
but
Systems.
here's what's like.
It's definitely important.
So when somebody
You-
calls
you-
me after
you-
hours to do a purchase agreement, oh my god, I have to call her and say,
Log
Anna,
on.
Anna, if you're home, are you able to do me a favor? No, but you know what? It's really good to surround yourself with, people that want to see you succeed and not sabotage your business, but are there to help you grow your business. And
Absolutely.
that's the foundation of to do so many transactions.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, success leaves clues, and you are the average of the closest people to you. And if you're hanging around people who are doing bigger and better things than you are, I mean, that's gonna rub off, on you, and you're gonna end up doing more as well.
That's a very true statement.
Yeah.
It's very true.
So how often, now you mentioned obviously scheduling in your rest, which I agree is 100% important, especially in a business like ours. But how much time do you spend just watching TV and just hanging around and not doing much?
Not much time.
Not much at all, right?
No, rest for me really doesn't involve much TV, but it's just being at home with your family.
Right.
Just having that presence of them there that you can, shout upstairs to your kids, or you want something to eat, or just to be able to relax in your home.
We have teenagers; they don't like hanging out with
Yeah,
us.
our kids don't like
So
us.
shout upstairs.
Our
Yeah.
kids don't like us, so I'm like, just wait till they're moved out, then we're really, really gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
But no, rest that
No, for
way.
sure, rest in that way, yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, like on the weekend, like.
Weekends, we like to sleep in.
We
on
did sleep in last
occasion.
Sunday,
Not
but it
too
was.
often, but get up. I like to hit the gym in the morning to run off
Right.
a little stress or whatever. I'll try and drag him in there a couple times with me.
I used to all the time.
Just to get moving, hit the chiropractor. Just that's
Right.
restful for me too. Get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Just try to enjoy as much free time that I can have, especially in the seasons where we're not so busy. I mean, take advantage of it, because in the next few weeks we are going to be crazy busy.
Yeah.
So I'm really going to regret it if I don't take advantage of the next couple weekends of
Definitely
rest.
got to get that playtime in.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, we.
I do.
Gotta try to achieve some balance.
Yes,
right?
balance is important. Very important. I mean, he'll go 100 miles an hour. I can't operate.
We
that
try to
way.
get a date night in once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Healthy.
Yeah. It's very.
Definitely
It's
date
very
your
important.
wife, fellas. And ladies, date your husbands. You
And the
have to
single
give each
people
other.
date somebody.
Yes, definitely give each other, some attention.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy being a husband and wife team. So I have to see him all the time. So sometimes I need.
Yeah, we see her in the gym. We
Meet up.
see her for breakfast. We see her at work. We come home, and she usually leaves a little bit earlier, to make dinner, and then I come home. So it's like, it's a lot.
figure it
Is
out.
that your guys'
We
break?
figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's what we were going to ask you guys
Yes.
as a husband and wife team. What complications? Well, obviously there's positives and there's complications.
Mhm.
So what complications do you have to overcome?
This is a great question, Robert. I'm glad you asked it, because a lot of people
No holds limits here.
in the industry I always say, you know
Yeah.
what, I was thinking about my husband joining
Yeah,
me in real
yeah.
estate, and I always say, no,
Think
don't
again
do it.
before you do that.
So
It
we
is-
commend you on a husband team, and great question, Robert. I really,
It's-
like
Well, we don't
that's
share
the
an
thing.
office anymore. She's in the
No,
other office.
I moved out.
She
of
moved out of the office.
because Tony likes to talk, and sometimes I like my. peace
I'm a
and
little
quiet.
loud. I'm a little confusing, and I might scream a little
Well,
bit.
we're just
Probably a lot.
different. So The work environment can be a little difficult at times, because I'm my way, he's his way, and
You want to go over and give her a hug or a kiss and
yeah,
say,
no,
get the
I'm
hell
like,
out of here,
I'm
we're
like,
at work.
I said we're not husband and wife at the office, baby. I'm busy,
I'm just sexually harassing her.
I
So
need
you
to-
gotta separate. You gotta
I
learn
have
to
to.
separate.
Yes.
I learned to separate it. He likes to kind of get into what I'm doing and this and that. And I told him, I'm like, you stay on your side of the fence. I'm on my side of the fence. Because I do things differently than Tony does.
And what she says, I'm going to capital or add upon that. This is going to make you a better leader or a better boss when you know you've got good people around you. Let them do what they do. Don't, because they yell at me. We know what to do. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, all right, I get it. But, so then you don't think about that. And when you don't think about that, it lets you be a little bit more clear on what you want to do.
So
And that to me is really
delegate
important.
more, don't micromanage, and stick to the goals that you.
Without
set.
question.
Absolutely.
And it's very hard because when you're what do they call that, touchy-feely, hands-on person, you want to be able to do everything. At the end of the day, you have to learn to let go a lot. And I learned to let go a lot when I was doing REO, but we had 18 people working. Now we've slimmed down the same business is not there. Yes, we've just downsized quite a bit. So it's like I find myself doing a little bit more, and then it's like, okay, did you do this? And I should know better to even say it because it's been done a long time. She knows it, Everybody knows. It's just they get it taken care of. Don't even worry about it. Just shut up. She's right. She's so right.
Definitely.
She's always right.
Yeah, that's right. And did I tell you when she's wrong? She's right.
Well, good thing she's never wrong.
Yeah. So, no, but we have a good time. We have a good time working together. And like I said, some of those days, like last Saturday, it was a great day.
Perfect. And what it really sounds like to me is it sounds to me like both of you guys have like the same exact drive. Like you're both driven to do this every single day. Where do you get your drive from? Is this something you were born with? Is this something you have to develop? There's somebody out there that thinking all the time, like, I really want to do this, and they get excited at nighttime and they can't get themselves to wake up in the morning and do what you guys do. So where do you get your drive from and how can someone develop that?
Wow, my drive is my children, to be honest with you. Just to be able to show them that no matter what job I've done in my life or my career now, that anything is possible as long as you go to work, do the work. I always tell them, do the work, show up. I try, do better, be better is what I tell my kids, and to show them, working hard, they reap the benefits of that, of course. They know a lot of people, because Tony and I know a lot of people and a lot of opportunities open for them. Being in the, real estate family, they're starting to ask questions and, they want to be entrepreneurs, and they're young kids. And I don't think a lot of kids have that advantage, being in, our kids in our household. They've got all kinds of questions, all kinds of, Tony will throw out ideas to our boys like, hey, what do you guys think about this? I was on a conference at this time. So they're really open to what we do and respect what we do. And they know that our schedule is so up and down. We're not always going to be there, to either get them to where they need to go or so they can have friends over or whatever. But at the end of the day, they know we've got their back. They love us. We love them. They support us, what we do, 100%.
So this is beginning to sound like a theme because almost every time I ask somebody what is your drive, they says it's their children. So for those of you that don't have children,
Have
Have
children! No, don't go do that.
You know what? That's a hard thing for me to answer because she answers it that way, but I don't think of it that way. It's almost like, how can we give back? Where can we give back? And as us as Remax agents, we do a lot with Children's Miracle Network, and I just got involved with another charity called the Operation Underground Railroad, which is to stop or prevent human trafficking, international human trafficking. You want to give back. You want to do something that lives on beyond you. And I don't know if a lot of people get that passion. If they're just living check to check, you can't think like that because you're just trying to take care of yourself. I remember, my mom, we put a little bit extra money in the envelope at church. She's like, no, you got to take care of the home first. Then you get. It's like you got to do both, Mom. And my mom's a good old soul, but there's got to be something more.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's like from what you did the other day with the coffee. You know, the guy bought you a cup of coffee. You never knew him from Adam, and it was just pay it forward day. Paying it forward is really important, and I think that the world or the universe rewards you for that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's not like you do it to get rewarded, but you do it because how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
And you know, when you're a kid, you want to get gifts. And the older you get, you want to give gifts. And when somebody gives you a gift, don't you feel like uncomfortable?
Yes.
It's like, no, I don't want nothing. No, you're not looking for anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's the cool thing about what we do, because it's almost like we're giving gifts every day, changing people's lives, getting them a better deal, getting a better way of life. I mean, that's really what we do.
Definitely.
Change lives. And like I've told you several times, our job, we have two jobs as real estate agents. We educate and we entertain. Give a couple chuckles, give them what they need to know so that they can make a good, educated decision and not us have to make the decision for them, because I don't want to make a decision for them.
Right.
But we're there to guide them in their biggest investment,
Yeah.
and that's what we do. You know, we give you the numbers, we give you the facts, and they ultimately make the decision.
How many homes have you sold in your career?
Oh my God, I can't even. I haven't even counted them, because like you said, you don't count your money. I haven't counted my transactions. I can only tell you, in the previous years, each year, I mean, over maybe 4,000 or 5,000 homes.
So let me ask you another question.
Yeah.
How many have you sold?
4,000 to 5,000 homes.
Okay, I've never sold one home.
I mean, you're talking in that kind of terms
Yeah,
and stuff.
that was a
Okay.
trick question.
Yeah.
I've never sold
Yeah.
one home.
Okay, are we tricking here? 'Cause
Yeah,
I can go my goodie bags and get some out now for you.
But
I don't wanna go there.
I mean it in a good way. We don't sell houses. We actually sell ourselves
Yes.
and the education and
Yes.
the knowledge that we have in making the transaction. The houses sell themselves.
And
No,
absolutely.
Robert, you've never sold a house to someone and you told somebody, this is the house you need to buy.
Right.
And they're going to listen to you. No, you show them something, you give them some good advice, and you let them make a decision.
Yeah.
So really, I've never sold a house. I've closed on several transactions.
Mhm.
We're just here to educate and entertain.
Good point.
Good.
So how much does personal achievement play into your motivation? Does that play into it? I know you talked about giving back. I know that you talk about
You mean the awards and stuff like that?
not necessarily awards, but just wanting to achieve the most you possibly
yeah.
can. Or was that ever, and then maybe dropped off a little bit?
You know that question's gonna be weird, but do you remember when we sold the company and they pulled all those boxes out of the back room?
Yes.
What was in them? Listen,
Awards.
Awards.
all our awards sat in boxes. We didn't care about the accolades. We didn't care. The new broker's like, oh, you got to put those up. You got to show people that you know what you're doing and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, they were in boxes. These awards,
Yeah, but they're like your diploma,
Yeah.
of
Which
real
they
estate,
are.
your diploma in college. They
Right.
put them up. You go to a doctor's office, they got
Right.
their diploma up there. So you can't just
Right.
say
Right.
they don't mean nothing. They do mean something. It's an accomplishment.
but that wasn't an accomplishment that we worried about. It was more so where we go back to the same thing. How many people did we help? Those people are the accomplishments. Those people that you do the video with, how were you? Or those reviews on Zillow or Realtor.com or on your website, and how the people were just so thankful. Or when a client brings you a gift to the closing table because they're just so happy with you.
Yeah.
Those are
That's-
accomplishments.
Yeah.
Accomplishments aren't trophies.
But there's accomplishments is looked in every single direction. So it's not,
Yeah, but I don't keep
multiple.
score.
I understand.
Not that way. Not that way.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
So, Tony, if we gave you a brand new agent right now, okay, if we gave you a brand new agent and we said, give this person, 1, 2, 3, 4, a 5-step plan of action, 5 things you want them to do to have a very successful year, and obviously anyone, it doesn't matter if it's their first year or 10 years in a business, they have to do these 5 things to go to the next level. Let's be specific and give them 5 things.
Yes. And we gotta be 5. So what's number 1, Tony?
Keyword is specific, like,
Yes. What's number 1?
Answer the phone.
That's the biggest.
That's the biggest one.
Okay.
Don't be afraid of being rejected. It's the national average in sales. 2 to 3%?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to talk to 100 people in order to get 3 sales.
Okay, so answer the phone or pick up and make phone calls.
That's absolutely number one.
Okay, so
great.
number one is use the phone.
Yes.
Use the phone.
Okay, and what's number two?
Come to the office.
Show up.
Show up.
Number two, show up.
Because no one will ask you to dance if you're not on the dance floor.
That's right. I like that.
Plain and simple.
Wow.
If you want somebody to ask you to dance, you got to be on that dance floor. You can't work at home and do the same thing as we can do in an office, because we go back to the competition breeds success.
Yes.
Somebody's doing good, you feed off each other. It's like a frenzy.
Yeah,
Yes.
good. Okay, what's number three?
I like this.
Wow, Shaddy, I never thought about these.
Yeah. Be relentless is number three. Okay. Because we're going to come back and break those down, because it's going to make a good conversation. Some people absolutely need
And
this,
then,
and we want to make sure
getting
we
into
get
the
that.
business, use your sphere of influence.
Okay.
I mean,
So
sphere
tap
of
into
influence.
your network.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tap into your network is number four. Love it.
Which makes it so much easier today with social media,
Study the
where we
market.
didn't have it, because when we got into business,
I like that.
we had to write cards out and make telephone calls to everybody that we knew out of our handwritten book, not on our phone. So I mean,
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm going back a
No,
long
no,
way.
Okay. So
I know.
number five.
You're a
So
dinosaur.
should we give
I'm
Sherry?
not.
Sherry said something good that I think would be a good number five.
Number five.
Study the market. Educate
Study the
yourself.
market.
Yes.
Okay, study the market. So be the expert. So number one, I'm gonna reorder them a little bit. Number one is show up. Okay.
Pick up the phone.
Number two, pick up the phone. Number three is know the market. Okay. Number four was
Sphere
Be
of
relentless.
be relentless, and number five is tap
Tap
into
into your
your network.
Network.
Awesome advice, guys.
Yes.
Awesome advice.
Great. Love having you on the show, Tony.
It's over already?
No, you
No.
want to keep going?
Yes!
We're-
Wow.
We're just getting started.
So we're gonna take a break.
No, we're not gonna take a
Oh,
break.
okay, I just tried
Oh
to
wait,
know.
I gotta tell you something.
Okay.
Shady doesn't allow any water breaks.
Yeah, no water breaks.
Oh, you're a slave driver, huh?
That's right.
Then what's
No
this
water.
I brought my water.
Rule number
I'm
six.
breaking the rules.
Break the rules is number six. Number six. You know what? I'd like to find out, you've been in the business for a long time. You've been in the business for a shorter period of time than him. So I'm going to ask you the question, okay? It's probably more fresh for you as an experience. What would you say has been your biggest obstacle or challenge in this business so far, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, jeez, my biggest obstacle.
It was me.
Well, honestly, sometimes it's really getting in touch with some of the other agents, on other deals, communicating with them. A lot of people want to text or email. Sometimes I really like to get on the phone and talk specifics. Some things get, misunderstood through text messages or and that. But I think dealing with a lot of agents on the other end with other companies or, it's hard to get in touch with them. It's hard to get them on the phone to, talk about a deal.
Right, and even when you get them on the phone, sometimes it's even hard to have that conversation.
It is because they don't know what they're talking about, or they don't have the answers, or it's kind of bizarre sometimes when you get on the phone with certain agents and they don't know their product.
Yeah.
They don't know the
Yeah.
house. They don't know what they're doing. The questions that are basic questions with a home, they don't have those answers. So that's probably the most frustrating with me. Like Tony said, I'm very organized. When I list a home, everything's in order. You have everything you want to know about the house. You've got the disclosures filled out. You've got the majority of the information that you're going to need, to present that property. I don't want anybody to call me and not know what's going on with my property. And
Especially when you're writing in the MLS.
Absolutely.
You want to tell a story in that MLS.
Exactly.
Storytelling.
The more
But,
information, the better. My opinion. So getting in touch with agents and getting information is very difficult.
So communication is the key.
Absolutely. What about you, Tony? What do you think? What's been your biggest obstacle over the course of the last 20 years, and how did you overcome the obstacle and or challenge?
Probably, I would say one of the biggest challenges is these puppy mills, which I call them, or brokerages that
Moms and pop shops.
maybe moms and pop shops or no name brand places. And I'm not specifically being like picking somebody out, but they bring these people in who don't know shit, and they put them out there, and they're contacting us from Zillow. They don't know what questions to ask. she's finishing their deals because and it's like, wait a second.
Well, that's where the mentoring and teaching comes in.
And I think we don't really have that. We really don't have that big of a problem when we're dealing with RE/MAX agents because, and I'm not.
I love that plug.
But it is
Tony.
true. But it is really
Because
true.
we are the most experienced agents in the world.
We are, and we are, and we sell more homes than any
Yes.
other agency in the world. We really do. But I think the ineptness of other agents, and I'm not trying to target people, but sometimes the questions that come across are so stupid. Don't you have a broker? Because and I'm not going to say the name of I'm not trying to target any other agencies, but there's a lot of brokerages out there that have 300 agents. 20 of them are making money. The other 280 are these part-time people that work here and work there and then come in and do a deal, and they don't know what they're doing. And
so basically, you just said what she said in different words.
How important
the
is
same
it?
challenges.
Yeah.
it's probably the same challenges.
So
Yeah.
let me rephrase the question and put it this way: in trying to grow your business and taking yourself to the next level, what has been your biggest obstacle, challenge, and how did you overcome it?
Shelf life. Shelf life of an agent.
As a broker.
As a broker.
Right.
Now, as a broker,
Okay.
that's because people always think if they can go somewhere else, they see it's less expensive. They don't perceive the value you bring to the table. And you and I both know, all of us know, value is, because long after the price is forgotten, the
Cost
value
versus
will still
value.
remain. So you may work at a brokerage that charges you whatever, I mean, less than a RE/MAX
or gives
brokerage.
you market sharing because we're not selling houses, you're recruiting agents.
Right. Yeah, waiting for your downline or whatever. I mean, that's not what it's about. It's
About making the American dream possible.
absolutely.
Okay, so value. What about as an agent? What's been your biggest obstacle and or challenge, and how did you overcome it? By the way, I'm going to ask you two the same exact question.
Oh my
so
God,
be
here
prepared.
we go.
I pass.
I think before you got into REO,
Yeah.
and and when you were doing 2 or 5 or 7 deals or whatever you did, what did you have to overcome at that time to get your business to the next level?
That's a good question.
That's a really good question. I think probably the lack of income coming in. I think that's probably your biggest
That's a
thing.
huge obstacle.
It's probably the biggest obstacle that the majority of people don't go in. And people don't realize that when you become a real estate agent, whether you work for somebody, still a commission, whether you work for somebody or on a team or something like that, you end up with your own business. And when you have your own business, you have to figure out how to make ends meet, how to take care of the kids because, well, wait a second, I ain't got a babysitter. How are we going to pay the bills this month because that house didn't close?
Guaranteed.
Right. And once you jump that hoop, real estate isn't something you just jump into when you're unemployed. Hey, I think I'm going to be a real estate agent. I think you need to get a job first. You need to have some. Yes.
When you're living put away in your savings before you really want to jump into real estate full force.
Or be willing to work 2 jobs like some
Correct.
So we had a
Yes.
guest earlier in a previous episode, and for 2 years she had to do 2 other part-time jobs, so she doesn't give up on her real estate business. And thank goodness she never gave up because she's a top producer now.
Then it's all about the snowballing effect.
Yeah.
We just brought a new agent in on our team a month ago, and he walked in today, and he's mid-50s, real nice guy. And he's on his 4th pending deal in 4 weeks.
Wow, great.
And when I heard him say, I said, what do you got, 2 pending? He goes, 4. And I came out, I gave him a big hug, I kissed him on the cheek. I'm like, my man, I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. You almost feel like a dad. You're because
you're raising them. in a way.
Yes.
Grooming
you're
agents.
you're grooming the agents, you're bringing them in. And now all of a sudden you become responsible for another family.
Mhm.
So it's very difficult to turn it off, as we were talking about before, that shelf life of an agent. You have an agent that lasts for 2 or 3 years, but a lot of these agents, man, they just want to, I can save $100 a month, and it's like, dude, is there no value here?
Yeah.
What we bring to the table?
Good point. What about you, Sherry? What do you feel? What's been your biggest obstacle or challenge, and how did you overcome it?
Well, mine is a little bit more personal. My biggest obstacle was to stop micromanaging. in order for
That's as a broker or as an agent?
as an agent and as a broker.
Okay.
You know, one biggest thing of mine was like I wanted to make sure everything was, you know, I had to micromanage everything.
So you always like to be in control.
Yes.
And giving up control is very difficult
Yes,
for
it
you.
was. It was.
Okay.
The moment I did that and delegated, you know what, I had surrounded myself with good people that wanted to grow the business, you know, and supported of me. And you know what, I respect that. And you know what, I was able to let go and you know, grow the business to a next level. And also the transactions grew too.
Perfect. Awesome. What about you, Robert? What's been your biggest obstacle or challenge in building up your business, and how did you overcome it?
I think I can resonate with what you guys were saying based on, you know, the fact that when you get into this business, you know, if you don't have the money, you know, you're going to have a financial obstacle to overcome. And then if you become your own boss, especially if you don't have the right work ethic from previous history. I mean, I got into the business when I was 21. So learning how to get a schedule and actually work it and, you know, be dedicated and have that work ethic to the business. So I guess I would say becoming my own, you know, becoming a business owner and then actually living up to being a business owner by being really, you know, in action, like they kind of talked about, and being dedicated to growth and trying to help people and not being all about the money, being about, you know, the relationship. All these things that they said right now is kind of how I overcame it over these last, you know, 10 years.
Terrific. Awesome. And how important do you all feel? I'm going to ask every single one of you guys the same exact question. And
What about you? What about you, Mr. Shady
Ask me
Bazzy?
anything you want.
What was
anything
your
you
biggest
want.
obstacle to, you know, become the coach who you are today?
I think the biggest obstacle to becoming a marvelous coach.
Marvelous coach. No, phenomenal
Exactly.
coach. I'm going to reword that.
Exactly. Thank you. So I think the biggest obstacle is the word obstacle. Okay, and a lot of times what happens is we are faced with an obstacle, and what we do is we don't acknowledge it for being an obstacle that we have to face head on and overcome it. We retract into denial mode by trying to figure out what's next, when in reality what's next is to find a solution. And the best way that I found a solution is I found me a very successful coach. And I was like, this guy is doing it the right way. What is he doing? And I paid him a little bit of money, and he gave me the solution. So for those of you out there who are facing any kind of obstacle, the solution to your obstacle is a coach. So reach out to a coach who can help you overcome the obstacle. Very good question. Thank
No,
you.
but
Anytime.
he's absolutely right. Even the top athletes in the world, Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, I don't care what sport you're in, I don't care what you do. They've got coaches, and there's a reason for it, because you're always trying to outplay your game. And no matter what, when you're on top, they're hunting for you. So you've got to stay on your A game as long as you can.
All right, so that was a good, very pattern interrupt, by the way, because you interrupted the pattern. But we're going to take it back one more time because it's a very important question that I want to ask, okay? At the end of the day, I know what you said, Tony, earlier. You said, you know, I've never sold a home.
Right.
Okay? I get that because, you know, we want to treat people as people with authenticity and respect and as if they are a family member, which is the right way to do it. But at the end of the day, you got to sell yourself as the person to work with that person.
Correct.
Okay.
Exactly.
So how important is it to learn the art and science of being a good salesperson? Andrea first.
Oh, the art and science of a salesperson. Well, I have to say, I've had to fire some clients just because of not, you know, the chemistry wasn't there. You know, I hope that my clients are going to trust me and understand where I'm coming from, vice versa. I think it's, if you kind of lock in who you're most compatible with in the business, I think you'll do well. Me, I'm not afraid to fire a client. Tony, on the other end, he'll hang on to everybody and wants to work it out. They've got to like me, but not everybody's going to like, you know, who you are and what you do and how you come across. So, you know, I think bringing up, you know, common little denominators, whether it's family, whether it's, oh, I got a husband too, who drives me crazy, and, you know, oh, I got a business too. Finding that common ground with your, you know, buyers or sellers and finding something to, you know, relate to them, you know, I think that makes,
So the better you are at
both
selling, the better
both
you
parties
can make.
comfortable.
Yeah.
I think that's what has, you know, landed a lot of my success
Yeah.
in deals. getting along with people, finding that common interest.
So creating that connection, building that rapport is
Absolutely.
critically important,
Yeah.
which is, part of the selling process. It sounds to me like you've mastered that. So awesome job. What about you, Tony? How
I think-
important is the art and science of selling?
I never knew the art and science of selling. I just did it. Then I took classes on it, and I'm like, oh, I do that. Oh, I do that. I never knew it. So when somebody says you're a natural born salesman, I now I get what they mean.
Mhm.
Just because you're talkative doesn't mean that you're a good salesman. She'll tell you got a big mouth. Shut the hell up. And sometimes I don't know when to talk. So her synergy and my synergy together. When I'm at a listing, she'll kick me. We've been here for an hour and a half already. Let's get the hell out of here. So sometimes I have to learn to be shut off. But it's funny when you learn marketing, because marketing is sales.
Marketing is selling.
Okay. You realize that the majority of real estate agents don't know one thing about it. They think that you get a listing and you put it in the MLS and then forget about this, it'll do it. You guys run into this every day.
Mhm.
It's not about that. And then to me, it's like, I know it's kind of weird, but if I can get in front of somebody, if I can meet them, I think it's pretty much over.
So you're a natural born salesperson, and when you learned the art and science, you became a little bit more strategic, and you're able to sell even at a higher level. That's what you're saying,
but
right?
the funny part, how you say that, it's almost like I feel sneaky when you say that. Like, I know what I'm doing now.
Right.
I just did it before because I was passionate about it and I liked it, and this is how oh my God, I love Chryslers. My first car was a 70 Cuda, and then he's like, oh this, and then you go back and forth, and before you know it, you ain't even talking about the house.
Yeah.
The house has got nothing to do with it. It's got to do with the relationship you have with each other, and then you become friends. And it's weird because most of our clients are our friends.
Yeah.
We go out to dinner with them. We hang out with them. We're on a boat with them. I mean, this is just what we do. And they become our... She said to me the other night, she goes, you don't have any friends. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes, you ain't got no friends. And I'm like, yes, I do. It's like, woo. And I'm like, it's like,
That's what he said.
and it's like, so it's like, my clients become my friends. And then, it just...
got a lot of friends.
I got a lot of friends. I really do.
Awesome. Sherry, how important is the art and science of selling?
It's very extremely important. I mean, there's when it comes to sellers, I mean, the sellers are looking up to you because they're looking to get the possible dollars on their home. And if they go to an agent that is not knowledgeable of the market, but they are a good marketer, and they might leave some money on the table for them, and honestly, the seller doesn't want them. So, sellers come to you because of your expertise and your knowledge of the market to sell the property.
Absolutely.
And for buyers, you do sometimes have to, talk to that buyer and sell them the home, because sometimes buyers are a little, just kind of.
But you're saying you're not bullshitting somebody.
No,
You're telling them facts,
Yeah.
but you've also got the marketing
Yes.
expertise behind
Yes.
it. So
Exactly.
even though I may have the marketing expertise,
Right.
if I don't know the facts and know my market,
Right.
I mean,
she's
and
100%.
I love the way that she dissected that, because the way that you sell a buyer on what they ought to do that is in the best interest for them is completely different than the way that
Yeah.
you do the seller.
Yes.
So you've mastered not only one
Yeah.
side, but you've mastered both sides.
Absolutely.
And that's what makes you the top
That's-
producer.
yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yes.
Great advice. What about you, Robert?
I think they all touched on it. Connecting with your clients. Actually caring about what it is that you're trying to do for them, knowing your market information so that way you can influence them to take the right action. And I think that having a sales background, and actually myself spending a lot of time trying to learn the art of sales, it's all about creating that common ground and creating agreement, and then helping people know that you're on their side to take them to the next level.
Right.
Because if they don't feel trusting toward you, they're not going to make a transaction with you.
I
And
agree
it
with
sounds
you
like they're
100%.
having a really good time.
Yeah.
Going on
They're
boats
playing,
and
they're
hanging out
playing
with
now.
That's beautiful, So that's the kind of business that we want to try to, have.
Terrific.
I think we bring a lot of value to the table.
Absolutely.
I think that, and you cannot in any way, shape, or form discount that in any way.
No.
Absolutely.
No.
Yeah, we've delivered goodies today.
Definitely.
And I just want to say, me personally, and then any Robert and Sherry can see what I want to say. I am like so honored to be in the presence of two megastars right here.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and, husband and wife team, they figured out, how to make it work at home.
Good job.
And how to make it work, in the business, and how to have every single one of your clients become a friend. I mean, that is the greatest
That's
gift of
huge.
all
Yes,
gifts.
It really is.
So, you guys could have been doing anything right now, and you guys chose to be with us, and, thank you.
Love it. This is really this.
Thank you
And
for
I
having us.
want to have you guys on my podcast.
Absolutely,
For sure.
absolutely.
For sure.
We'd love to have you
For
on.
sure. And we're
Thank
not
you.
done yet because we do you guys want to say anything before we end with how we're gonna end?
Well, Shadi, you asked us all about the sales process.
Oh, your wife.
And actually, you're the person who first introduced me to the sales process from A to Z back in 2012. So, what would you say? How important do you feel the sales process is to this?
I think the sales process is the most critical thing that you need to master, not only in your business life, but also in your personal life. I have a 22-year-old son. And I say to him, Jamal, if your dad doesn't wake up the next day for whatever reason, there's only one request that I have of you to learn and master, and that is the art and science of selling. Because when you can sell, you can influence, and when you can influence, you can do more good for the world. So selling is everything. You're
Amen.
selling somebody
Great.
on why they need to date you, or you're selling someone on why they need to do business with you, etc. It's a sales game all day, every single day. Your children are telling you why you need to buy a candy bar for them.
I never thought about it that way, but you're absolutely right.
So
You're absolutely right.
Sales is everything.
Definitely.
Good question.
Great. Thank you guys.
Great,
I really
great
appreciate
question.
having you guys.
And we're not
Great.
done yet. Hold on
Yeah.
a second.
We're giving something away?
No, we're giving away your wallet. Give it to
Oh,
me.
I
No.
already got that.
Okay. Yeah, you already got it. Okay. So here's the way we like to end. Number one is we're gonna go around the table and everybody's gonna give a book recommendation, and then we're gonna go around the table again and everybody's gonna give like a quote, whatever quote they live by, etc. And then we'll share your contact information and how people can get a hold of you if they want to send you a referral and or some love or whatever. And we'll go from there.
Quotes? Oh, listen, Arm.
We're gonna go on. If
Yeah.
you got it ready, we're gonna bypass it.
Yeah. So
I'm pulling my quote out. I put quotes in my phone.
okay, as he's pulling it up, Andre, you got one, or you want me to go to someone
I've got a
else?
book. I don't have an author though.
Okay, that's fine.
Same here.
We got Google. What's your book?
Fuck Feelings.
Yeah.
It's a great book.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but I
Yeah,
love
it's
the title.
definitely it's a good book.
It's from the same author of the
The
Stuff
Stuff
to
to
Art. Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
awesome.
Definitely.
Good recommendation.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sherry.
Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, what a classic by Napoleon Hill.
Yes.
That right there is a book. Wow, it's the first time anyone recommended
Yes.
this on the show.
Really?
And this is, I want to say something. Do you want to say something about it?
No,
Or you
go
want me to say
ahead.
something about it?
I'll leave it
Okay.
to you, Shady.
So, let me tell you a little bit about this book and why. This is like actually one of the first books that I made my son read, Think and Grow Rich, because there's another person by the name of Mark Victor Hansen who's also an author, and he said, well, he owned the title for the most amount of books ever sold, the Chicken Soup series. And he said that book is the book that changed his life, and he still reads that book like once a month. Every single month he's been reading that book for like 20 some years.
Wow.
So great recommendation. I just wanted to piggyback on that and make, drive the point on how important it is for everyone to read that book.
It's
Robert.
funny you mentioned that. I actually
Text it
missed
to
that book. And I
Yeah.
really would like to read through
Yeah.
that.
Good book.
Chicken soup for the soul.
The book I'm gonna that I'm going to recommend is, and they said this word during this conversation. It's called Relentless by Tim Grover, and that's a book that will basically, it talks about achieving your goals at the highest level. But it's just it's a terrific book for sure. That's it.
Very good book. Awesome.
Oh, and by the way, I'll say this: Tim Grover was Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant's
Coach.
right-hand trainer.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just to kind of give you an idea of
Back into
author
training.
stuff.
Yeah.
Read that one too.
Very good book. Awesome. Your turn.
The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yeah, great book.
Was that yours?
I love that book.
It's a great book. It takes you maybe an hour and a half to read it.
Yeah.
It's a little small book, and it will teach you about systems and how to monopolize and turn your business into an absolute gold mine. And I don't know who wrote it, but I know it's an old book. It's based on like a biblical type
Yeah.
story, but it tells a story. number one business book before you read
Yeah.
any of these other books. Read The Richest Man in Babylon.
Awesome. And piggybacking, my book recommendation is going to be a little bit more written in a biblical sense as well too, and it's called The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. It's a hands down,
Yes.
a book,
That's a good one.
book
That's
that
a good
you got to read. So that's my book recommendation. So let's go around the table. Everybody give a quote and let's wrap things up. So who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Mhm.
When opportunity knocks, don't just stand there. Kick that
Kick that door down.
door down and go grab it. And that was from The Rock.
Nice.
Love it.
So,
Love it.
Love The Rock.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's awesome.
I'm sure you guys love The Rock too.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Now it's really getting hot in here.
My turn?
Yeah, it's your turn.
Uh,
I
what
don't
the
have anything on
what
that.
the mind can conceive and believe, and it can achieve.
Wow. Okay. So very good
That's
quote by
from
Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon
as
Hill,
well,
too.
too. There you go.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. My quote will be: "The greatest competition you face is the person you see staring at yourself in the mirror."
Wow.
wow.
Good quote.
Love it. Love it. Love
I
it.
don't know who wrote that. so.
And Andrea,
I can't hold a candle to any of those. I got nothing.
Give us something.
Something.
you always
It could be a love
Simple
quote.
is
It could be a
always
love
good.
quote.
Yes, you know I love love quotes.
It could be something that you just invent right now.
Mhm.
Let's see here. I think a second. I think Tony's
Sure.
got something.
All right.
I had
He's already
mine.
given something.
I had
I'll give one, then we'll come back to you.
Okay.
So here's my quote. My quote is, it's going to be a little bit lengthy. Okay. My quote is, the greatest gift is not the one you receive, it's the one that you give. And if I can say it in simpler words, it's the old motto used to be ask and you shall receive. The new motto is give and you shall receive.
Wow, nice one, Chatty.
That's a
Which
good
is
one.
really
That's
good,
a really
and it's
good
in line with everything that they
Exactly.
were saying today.
Yeah, and I
Exactly.
think if you live by those, you'll be fine. You got nothing to worry about.
No.
Good.
Don't expect it overnight.
Good.
Success does not happen overnight.
Nope.
Takes time.
So are we going to let Andrea off the hook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
No, your quote could be simple.
Yeah.
I love you.
I do love you.
I love
All
you
right.
She has quotes on her Facebook page constantly.
Check her out.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, somebody out there just fell in love with both of you guys. Maybe they want to reach out to you guys, have a conversation. Maybe they want to send you a referral. Maybe they want to come work on your team, etc. How can people reach you if they wanted to reach you for whatever reason?
Facebook,
Okay.
the Raffin team.
Okay.
Facebook, Fix It and Flip It,
Okay.
which is our
Podcast.
podcast for fixing up, or at Remax First, 586-773-4400, or our website, www.talktotony.com.
Love that. That's
Yeah.
easy to remember.
I remember keeping it simple a long time ago.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't even carry cards. And like, how do I find you? Talk to Tony. What are you doing right now? They
That's it.
never forget.
Absolutely.
When we were at the restaurant the other night. That's how that guy remembered me. I didn't have a card.
He went to the,
He went right to the website.
and he checked
Yep.
you out and sent you a message.
Yeah, so I
Awesome.
kept it simple.
All right. Well, thank you guys very
Thank you,
much. And for our audience, we appreciate you. And if you love this episode, please share it with anyone else that you know who could benefit from it. And if you haven't already done so, give us a 5-star rating and a positive review. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yay. Woo!
Thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of the Real Estate Leading Edge podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with anyone you know who can benefit from the interview. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and a positive review. Thank you and see you next week.